There's a fungus that has been paying rent to a tree for 60 million years. The currency is nitrogen, the landlord is a Sitka spruce, and the entire arrangement, which is older than the Himalayas, produces a golden mushroom you can buy at a farmer's market in Portland for $30 a pound. And that is very clearly not a chanterelle. That is an Amanita muscaria, famous for poisoning people, not provisioning economies. Every single one of them was foraged from the wild because nobody has ever figured out how to grow a chanterelle indoors. That is not for lack of trying. The Pacific golden chanterelle Cantharellus formosus is not really a mushroom. I mean, it is a mushroom in the way that an apple is a tree. The mushroom is the fruiting body. The actual organism is underground. A web of microscopic threads called mycelium threaded through the soil and physically wrapped around the roots of its partner tree. This is called an ectomycorrhizal partnership, which sounds like a Wi-Fi protocol, but is actually one of the oldest biological contracts on Earth. The technical term for the handshake point is the Hartig net, a lattice of fungal cells that physically interlocks with the outer cells of the tree root. Picture two sets of fingers laced together, except one set is microscopic and the other is a 300-foot conifer. The chanterelle sends water, nitrogen, and phosphorus up into the tree's roots. The tree sends sugar back down. Neither party can do what the other does. Neither party has renegotiated in 60 million years, and those are two more amanitas. Neither a chanterelle nor a spruce tree made it to this meeting, apparently. The Sitka spruce, for its part, is the largest spruce species in the world, can live over 700 years, can grow over 300 feet tall, and for most of that life it is quietly dependent on a fungus the size of a dinner plate. What chanterelles provide is what ecologists call a provisioning service, one of four categories of ecosystem services. Provisioning services are the stuff ecosystems hand you directly: food, water, fiber, timber, medicine. The obvious ones are obvious: salmon, timber, freshwater. But chanterelles are the quiet entry on the ledger that most people walk past because foraging does not show up in national agricultural statistics the way corn does. In the Pacific Northwest alone, the annual chanterelle harvest runs about 1 million pounds. Retail price, $30 a pound, sometimes more. That is a real market-priced provisioning service produced by a relationship between a fungus and a tree that nobody has figured out how to replicate outside a living forest. And that last part is the thing. You cannot cultivate chanterelles. People have tried decades of mycological research, controlled greenhouses, inoculated seedlings, the works. The obligate mycorrhizal partnership requires a living forest with living roots and living soil biology. No shortcut, no indoor version, no factory. So the chain is Sitka spruce roots plus chanterelle mycelium exchanging carbon and water and nitrogen equals chanterelle fruiting bodies equals commercial foraging equals a cultural tradition stretching across PNW, Russian, French, and Eastern European communities equals a restaurant economy. That is provisioning, that is the service. The harvest depends entirely on intact coastal old-growth forest, not managed plantations, not second growth, old growth, the kind with 700-year-old spruce undisturbed soil biology and a mycorrhizal network that took centuries to build. The Pacific Northwest has lost roughly 80% of its old growth forests since European settlement. Most of what remains is on federal land, caught in a decades-long jurisdictional fight between timber interests, environmental groups, and agencies that cannot agree on how much of it should be left standing. When you cut the forest, the mycorrhizal network dies, not slowly. The partnership cannot persist without the tree, and when the network dies, the chanterelle stops fruiting permanently. There is no replanting timeline that fixes this in a human lifetime. A second growth stand takes 200 years to develop the soil biology that supports chanterelle fruiting, 200 years. Every chanterelle you have ever eaten was a gift from a partnership older than flowers, a fungus that cannot photosynthesize, and a tree that cannot mine its own soil sat down, metaphorically 60 million years ago, and said, I have what you need. And neither one of them has walked away since. We just take the fruit. Thanks for watching. If you want more of this, subscribe. The partnerships only get weirder from here, and so does the infrastructure.